I'm here with Mr. Shahabzada Jahangir, who is one of the founder members of PTI, a very close friend of Mr. Imran Khan, and has played a vital role in Mr. Khan's campaign, and he's just back, spending about 7 days, he told me, in the helicopter, the last leg of the campaign, and very thrilled indeed. We are sitting in London in his house, very thrilled indeed. With the win, I'm sure.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, it was not just 7 days, it was 21 days. And in that heat, my God, it was really, for me, very hectic. But for Imran Khan, you know, he's a super fit person.
Yes.
And
you told me he managed to exercise, do his fitness routine.
Absolutely incredible. On religious basis, every single day, he does all sort of fitness exercises, you know, the push-ups and weightlift, you know, everything.
Wow.
And touch wood, very fit man.
Yes.
And it was some experience going around the whole of Pakistan with him.
Yes.
And, you know, I went to a place called Bandu. It's in KP, which is Northwest Frontiers.
Yes.
And we went there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The temperature was 47 degrees.
Oh my God.
And, you know, people were standing shoulder to shoulder, absolutely packed. And Imran Khan standing on the stage, delivering a speech. And I could, you know, it was like he's standing under the shower. Whole water coming down his body. And you could see it. He was not wearing any bulletproof jacket. He was just wearing a white kurta shalwar, which we call in Pakistan. And amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Jahangir Saab lives in London, and we all complain of heat wave now at this point.
Absolutely, it's so hot out here.
We are complaining of heat wave. Jahangir Saab, fantastic, great. I think you are really thrilled, of course, and you worked hard for it. But there is a hardship in terms of economy as well. A lot of hard times that Pakistan is going through. The reserve is low, the debt is high. What challenges do you see for Imran Khan at this point?
You see, Imran, obviously the new government will be faced with tremendous challenges because there's no doubt about it. The economy is very much down. Foreign exchange reserves are very much down. Our exports are down. And it all has to be regulated and put on the right footing. The thing that Imran stood for 22 years was against anti-corruption. Two things are really very important here to mention. One is the corruption of the previous two governments. One we had was PML, and the prior to that was of Bhutto's, which was PVP. And not only of corruption, but also the incompetence, which has brought Pakistan to this stage. Now, everybody's looking at Imran. The quality that he has is that he has 0-degree tolerance as far as corruption is concerned. So once he's able to control that corruption at the top, because once he does it at the top, at the bottom, it will automatically take care of. We are very hopeful. People abroad, like I must tell you, for example, take China. China was built by the overseas Chinese. Malaysia was built by the overseas Malaysians. We have something like 7.8 million overseas Pakistanis living. And they remit annually about $20 billion to Pakistan. And they further inject $20 billion in Pakistan economy by their personal travel, spending money in there. That amounts to about $40 billion. Unfortunately, that money was misused. It was not put to the right causes. It was not properly attended. And on top of that, most of that money was either transferred down here in the shape of money laundering or kickbacks or whatever. All these things will stop now. And knowing Imran's credibility, that he is such an honest leader, the overseas Pakistanis massively now will invest in Pakistan.
So you're saying that expatriate investment sentiment will go up. But do you think Imran Khan has promised more than he can deliver, and in the time period that looks impossible?
I think as far as Imran Khan is concerned, there is nothing impossible. Because I remember a time that when we were doing cancer hospital, Everybody said, no way can you build a cancer hospital. He built a cancer hospital. And then people, I remember we organized a meeting for Imran in London with about 40 doctors. And they told Imran, now that you build a cancer hospital, you will not be able to run it. Because each cancer treatment costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. How are you going to do it? He never gave up. And now today, that hospital is an international institute recognized internationally by the world bodies. Look at his university that he has set up in Miyawali, doing tremendously well, providing 80% free education to the children over there. So nothing is impossible as far as that guy is concerned, Imran Khan.
Hopeful, yes, we can be. But do you think the time period, those were election promises, or campaign promises, difficult to keep? And what does he is required to do in order to do that? As an expatriate, now I want to talk to you like an expatriate.
Okay. Number one plan that Imran has got at the moment is to build around 500,000 low-cost housing for the poor masses. And this is priority number one, to at least give them shelter, give them proper housing. And for that, arrangements are being made to organize mortgages for them, because a poor person has got no money at all. From where is he going to get the initial money to put in to buy a house? So even those are things are being taken care of. His main concentration straight away will be in healthcare, education, and housing. These are the three things he's going to tackle. Now also remember, we have a population of over 200 million people there. Only 1 million people pay the taxes. Because there was no need to pay the taxes. Everybody was involved in one form or the other of corruption. Now that's all going to come to a stop. Money will start generating because he'll be collecting taxes internally. Electricity is stolen in Pakistan. You have, there's a massive misuse of government facilities over there, which all will come to a stop now. And all these things will generate funds, revenue for the government. So Imran will have the cash in his hand to carry on executing the program that he has put forward to the masses.
Brilliant. Jahangir Sahab, there has been a trajectory in his life where he was, looked like a very open man, and now he looks quite orthodox, and his perception, his statements are quite orthodox, and has been alleged and called Taliban Khan as well. How would that sit well in today's foreign policy?
You see, all these talks that one was doing about him calling him Mr. Taliban Khan, or these perceptions which were going on, were really all spread by the opposition parties in Pakistan, and then gradually it took up the media outside, and they also started projecting him that. But he's totally opposite to that. What he has been very forcefully from day one been advocating was sit down and talk to Taliban, which now Americans are doing, which Chinese are doing, which other superpowers are doing. Negotiate, because by killing and killing, you are reproducing more and more Taliban, more and more. The tragedy doesn't end, because when you bomb one area, yes, the suspect get killed, but along with the suspect, maybe another 200 innocent people get killed. And those 200 innocent families pick up a gun, because that's all they know, and they fight, and the fight never ends. So there has to be a peaceful settlement, and I think Imran will play a very important role, his government will play a very important role in now bridging the gap between the neighbors and resolving this long dispute of terrorism in Pakistan.
Brilliant. Just last bit now on what, as an expatriate, you're looking forward to do, and what's the sentiment around here that you read, which will take the investment higher than even $40 million?
You see, I tell you, I also move around very closely with the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf here in the UK and Europe, unlike India, We have political parties based here in UK and Europe. And the feeling amongst them is absolutely very high.
I'm talking of not only PTI members, but other than them, normal Pakistani expatriates.
Normal Pakistani patriots, they will now can feel confident that we at last soon will have a government which is honest, which has fought for anti-corruption for 22 years, and they will be provided level playing field. Any investment that they will do in Pakistan now, they can be rest assured, yes, their investment will be protected and they can feel safe that their money there is for good cause. Until now, they had no idea. So much money was going on, but like I said, either through corruption or mismanagement, it was all put to waste.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Jahangir. That was Mr. Jahangir, who is the founder member of PTI, lives in London, and a very close friend of Mr. Imran Khan. Very hopeful, of course, and says that the first thing that he would tackle is corruption, and that will raise the investor sentiment not only across the world but also expatriate Pakistanis who play a very, very important role in the economy of Pakistan.